It looks horrible. The issues I've had to have with
Dr. Stedman, can you hear me? If you can, go ahead and unmute yourself.
I did.
All right. It should be, it appears it's recording on your end. So that way you can go ahead and have it posted tonight.
It is. It's recording. Okay.
All right. Time is, still got a couple minutes before we get started. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. Get that out of the way. All righty. I think we're ready to go here. Let me check the time and all these messages. All right. All right, it's 7 o'clock. Let's get started. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our final town hall of the semester for MELS 601. Our agenda tonight, and I will email you this with the, we'll post this in your classes. When you get the link to tonight's video, you'll also get this agenda. Dr. Stedman will make sure this gets posted in 601. And for Dr. Church as well, for the regular masters and Dr. Todd. So the first thing I want to cover is all the things that you're required to do this semester in each of the programs. For the regular 5-semester master's program, your Blackboard coursework per your instructor to include your discussion boards, assignment, case study, and peer reviews. The app cell is due in task stream DRF portfolio. Also in that DRF portfolio, we're due your competency analysis after you complete the app cell and your dispositions that can be entered in at any time. And also you were to establish a competency folio this semester. And in that you were to do the 12 competencies that aligned with the competency analysis you did in app cell task 5. Those 12 that you did there, you should have 12 competencies in your competency folio. You should have 12 competency artifacts in your folio as well. The same for all you folks in your 3-semester add-on licensure, except you have to have 21 competencies that match AppSell Task 5 and AppTel Task 4. You will have done all 21. We need 21 artifacts. Please remember, you're only to create one competency folio that you will use the entire time that you are with us. You are not to create a different one every semester. You create one competency folio in task stream, and you add to that each semester until it is complete by the end of your program. All right, I see the first question of the evening. All right, so we're good on that. All right. So make sure you understand that one competency folio, if you're in the master's program, you only did the AppSell this semester, you do 12 artifacts that match those 12 competencies. If you're in the add-on licensure, you did the AppSell and AppTell and covered all 21 competencies this semester. I should see 21 competency artifacts in your folio. We only create one folio, not one each semester. So do not create it and submit it for evaluation. It is not time for you to do that. In that vein, when you complete your internship log this semester, you are to upload it and request comments in your competency folio. Please do not submit your internship log for evaluation in your DRF portfolio. That goes at the very end when all of your logs are done.
Dr. Lamb, may I say something about the internship log? Had a student that said that due to everything that she had struggled with her administration getting the 80 hours she needed this time, and she told me how many hours she needed. So I reminded her to go back and to provide me with hours that she had worked with her PLC with development of the AppSell and with the AppTell, and that I would be able to give her credit, leadership credit, to help out with those internship hours. So if you're running into a problem like that, based on whatever the circumstances are, work with your whoever your clinical coach is, if that is an issue that you need to discuss with them.
Yes, AppTell and or AppSell and or AppTell work. The work that you did on those at your building can count as clinical hours as well. So you should have 80 hours this semester in your log. All right, so let me now move over to task string and remind you, when you go in, let me change to the author view. When you go in and you log in, this is what your DRF portfolio looks like. And for those of you who are add-on this fall, you owe us the AppSell, the AppTell, the competency analysis, where you tell us about your, that's just a copy and paste from AppSell task 5 and AppTell task 4, and where you've written what you did to be competent and you do your dispositions. That's what's due there. Now, for those of you in the master's program, yours is going to look like this. AppSell is due, competency analysis of the 12. That would be task 5 of the AppSell again, and your School of Ed dispositions. Do not come down here and be bothered with competency folio or internship log. These are not for now. These come after. You notice that everything is in a sequence. That should tell you that they're not due now. There's a reason why they come after MELS 605. In both your master's and your add-on licensure shell, you notice that these things come after MELS 605. That means do not put anything, do not bother them now. We continue to have that problem. Everything is set up in the order that you should complete it. 601, AppSell, competency analysis afterward, disposition. 602, AppTell, OMA, dispositions. 604, skip cap. 605, SOP, disposition analysis, exit survey. Then and only then, competency folio is submitted for evaluation. It must be complete before you move it over. And then internship log. That's the order that we do things in. Again, same thing for the add-on licensure people. AppSell, AppTell, competency analysis, dispositions in your first semester. Second semester, OMA, skip, dispositions. Third semester, CAP, SOP, dispositions analysis, end of program completer survey. Then your folio, once complete, move it over for evaluation and your internship log. Everything is set up for you to follow right down the list. I've already had to send back numerous internship logs this semester. It is not time to put those in yet. You put them in, the semester logs or go in your competency folio. Let me go over there and pick one that I did this semester. Here's one. So here's your competency folio. You notice down at the bottom, internship logs. You put your semester log from this semester. When you get your 80 hours, you put it there and request comments. Internship log, upload your log, use attachments, and then hit the request comments from your coach. You know who your coach is. So when you get there, you do attachment, upload from computer, add files, add your log, upload and close, save and return, request comments from your coach, check internship log, continue, pick your coach. Let's say it's Joe Bullis. If you're in the master's program, it'll always be him. Continue, and comments successfully requested. Just that simple. So that's what you do this semester is with your internship log. Do not upload it for evaluation in your DRF portfolio. All right. So that should be a reminder for that. And remember, we do the same thing. We upload artifacts the same way. Remember, we're uploading artifacts here, not, we should have a communication artifact. You have the materials where you can find your artifacts from the evidences that we did and from your open-ended. Read the directions for each of these. Make sure that you have followed the directions in terms of what is supposed to be uploaded. One of these three, app, cell, SIOP, open-ended, must satisfy digital competency. I would use app cell this semester since you did that one. All of you did that one this semester. All right, let me stop, look at the questions right quick. Okay. All right, for next semester, what is the start date for counting log hours for the new semester? Anytime after the first of the year, January 1st. If you've already submitted for this semester, as Dr. Stedman pointed out, if you've already submitted and got your 80 hours signed, you can start anytime. You can start anytime if you've got it uploaded now.
And the reason I said that, Dr. Lamb, is because of some of the struggles they're having, and it's only
Right.
like a 3-week window.
Yeah.
So,
but if you haven't, and you're not, but if you're coming back early, my point is, if you're struggling to get your hours, but you're coming back early in January, you don't have to wait until the 11th when the semester starts. You can start anytime January 1st, but as soon as you get your 80 done now, you can start the new one for the spring. All right. Okay, if you've submitted your internship RF, all I can do is send it back. I can't delete it. I can send it back, and that's all it has to be done. And then that way you can resubmit it later. You don't do anything for digital learning competency. Remember, this one right here is just so you'll know what they are. There is nothing, as you can see, there's nothing no place that you could upload anything there. That's
Those
just
are
for
already in your other competencies, 18 of your other competencies, right,
Yep,
Dr. Ram?
they are integrated in them. All right. No, nothing for digital learning right now. All right, so that should get you through your DRF portfolio and get you through your competency folio for this semester. Competency analysis. All right, for competency analysis. All right, let me go over here for that one. All right, so what you would do in competency analysis, this is optional, not required, but for those of you who are, let me see, let me do author and come down here. So what I would do for me, for my competency analysis, when I did it, I would simply upload it right here as I would just do an attachment. You know, you got to fill out your form and see, I would just mark myself as met on the ones that I did. But before I did that and submitted it, or save and return, or even after I did save and return, you can take and do a copy and paste of what you wrote in AppSell 5 and AppTel 4, or to which program you're in, and you can see right here, I just uploaded mine. I would upload it right here and have it attached as a file. Just do a copy and paste and onto a clean document that's all it was on it, was your competency analysis from task 5 of the AppSell and task 4 of the AppTel. I'd make a separate quick and dirty document right out of my final AppSell and AppTel, take you 1 minute, save it, and upload it here so that you're sure you've got it here. That's what I would do. Now, it's not required to do that. You can just go in and mark the ones that you've got done. But I'm telling you, your evaluator will appreciate if you've done that. They like it when you uploaded that file. They don't have to go back and reference that document. See, what that person has to do that evaluates that is they have to go over to your DRF portfolio. They have to go over to your graded AppSell and AppTel and pull those up and go down to task 4 and 5 and look and make sure you've addressed it. If you upload this for them, that saves them an extra step. We try to make our evaluators happy. That's all they're going to do. They're just going to go in and look and make sure that you've got them all. But if you attach them here, they can pop that up before they even start grading, make sure that you've got those, that they're there. They can just read through them and say, they're all there, and just click right through. It doesn't take but a minute when people do that to sign off on your competency analysis. That will make your evaluator happy. We like to make our evaluator happy. If you've already done it, no need to resubmit. No need to resubmit. We don't get to resubmit it. Task string is pretty much a one and done. If it's already been submitted and evaluated, it's done. They've already taken the time to go in and look. So there is no send it back. If you haven't submitted your competency analysis, when you do, I suggest doing this. It's not required, again, not required. So there'll be no send backs. And so that's that. Once it's been graded, it's graded. Don't ask them to go back and grade it again if they've already graded it one time. They do not like that. Again, I recommend that you do that. It is not a requirement. If you didn't, it's not a problem. They'll pop up your AppSell and your AppTel, and they'll read through them right quick. If you add them here, it just saves them one step. Just makes it quick. That's all you have to remember. All right. Any other questions? Stop share. Any other questions on task string? Do not submit your competency folio or your internship log for evaluation this semester. We're still building those. Just remember, we're not ready for that yet. All right, so let's go back and let me share screen and go back to our agenda and look at some dates.
Dr. Lamb, just remind them as you're doing your folio work and the work for your internship, just remember that these are actual documents that will be uploaded and sent to DPI for your licensure when the program ends. So you need to make sure that it professionally represents you, whatever you do.
Yep, that's why I said make it look as good as you can. This is what people evaluate you on later on. All right, please create only one task string folio. You will add new competency artifacts to that folio each semester. All right, 9 p.m. Sunday, December the 6th is a deadline for submission of evidences and to request comments on your competency folio because grades are due Tuesday, December the 9th, or Wednesday, December the 9th. So we got to have them by December the 8th. All right, spring 2021 semester starts on Monday, January the 11th. You'll have class sometime that week. The following week, I'll do a legacy town hall welcoming everybody back. I usually do that on the second Monday, so that should be on the 18th of January. Go ahead and plan now that I'll do a legacy town hall for all of you returning students. I'll do the welcoming town hall on that Monday, the 11th, but that's only for the new 601s. That'll be where you are now next semester. So the 18th, I will do that. So let me write that in. All right, so we start on Monday, January the 11th. If you're in my section, I have 603 on Wednesdays. Your date, your class date, day of the week will vary according to what instructor you have. You can email them to find out what day they normally meet on and what time. It'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. For me, I'll just tell you now, it's always Wednesday at 7 o'clock if you're in the C12 section, and we'll go over that in just a minute. And I'll tell you who your folks are. And so Blackboard availability, Monday, January 4th, sometime during that day, your course shell will be available in task string. We'll start sometime Monday, the week after Monday, January the 11th. You'll have your town hall will be on Monday, January 18th at 7 p.m. Now, let me see. I see I've got questions. The question is that's a holiday, the 18th. I realize that's a holiday. We'll have the town hall. Remember, attendance is always optional, but we have to get these dates in. I only have Mondays. I can't conflict with classes. And so we've always done that second Monday, the semester, we always do this in order to get everybody on the right page. Again, you can watch the video later if you don't choose to join us live. All right, so here are the instructors for the spring. If you are in MELS 601 regular masters with Dr. Church, you'll have Dr. Malia Neal for 602 section. If you're in 60103 with Dr. Todd, you'll have Dr. Anita Sanders for the 03 section. Dr. Joe Bullis will continue to coach both sections, and you will complete the APTEL in the spring. That is the second of the 6 evidences. So Dr. Church's class goes to Dr. Neal, Dr. Todd's class goes to Dr. Sanders, and Dr. Bullis will continue to be your coach. So you will have some consistency. You will complete one evidence, the APTEL. You will do the 9 competencies that you did not do with the APSEL, You did 12, you will do the remaining 9 of the competencies, both in analysis and APTEL Part 4, or Task 4, and in your competency folio, you will upload artifacts to complete the first round of your 21 competency artifacts in your competency folio. So that's what you folks have coming up in the spring. All right, for you add-on licensure people, the C2 section with Dr. Stedman, that's the C2 section, has Dr. Sumner and Dr. Terry Worrell as the coach. The C10 section with Dr. Stedman has Dr. Doug Massengill, Dr. Gina Caton as the coach. The C6 section with Dr. Robin Hamilton will have Dr. Sarah Whitaker and Dr. Lisa Barnes. The C12 section with Dr. Hamilton has me with Dr. Anna Maraglia. C4 section with Dr. Revis has Dr. Jackie Tobias with Dr. Lisa Barnes again. And the C8 section with Dr. Crawford has Dr. Rachel Zantz as instructor with Dr. Hunter Jolly as as your clinical coach. Students will complete both the OMA and the SKIP next semester. You have 2 evidences again. You did the APSEL and the APTEL this semester. You will do the OMA and the SKIP in the spring. And we also would like, I'll just go ahead and tell you now, we also like to get you started the last couple of weeks of the spring on the CAP. We'll pace you so that you'll have time with 2 weeks left in the semester, and then the 2-week break between spring and summer gives you an extra 4 weeks. You should have that CAP knocked out by the time summer starts, so that you won't struggle to get your SIOP done in the summertime. So we will complete both the OMA and SKIP, and we'll introduce the CAP and give you a couple of weeks to work on it. All right, so that's what it looks like for spring. This should to finish everything up. Make sure you're in touch with your instructors. We just met as a faculty just right before this meeting and talked about individual students, making sure everybody gets, we're not going to give C's, we're going to give incompletes. If you don't get your work done, if you don't get your evidence work done, we're going to give you an incomplete. If you only got enough points to get a C, we're going to give you incompletes to try to keep that C off your transcript and keep you from going on probation or getting kicked out if you came in provisional or probationary and you get a C, you're kicked out for a year. To avoid that, we're being as humanistic as possible. We're going to do a 90-day incomplete with you folks to try to help you. You've had personal and family difficulties or professional difficulties. We're going to do incompletes. We're not going to be real sticklers on that. We're going to try to make sure that we do that. But try to get all your work in. Try to be timely. The best way to get out of a swamp is not to get in it. Don't get behind. If you get behind, it's hard to get caught up. It never gets any easier. Let me explain that to you. It never gets any easier. There's never less to do. There's more to do every semester that you're in the program. There's more and more. We ask more and more. You folks going to 603, you better strap it on. We have 4 very in-depth legal case studies. We will drop back on some, as I told you last week, we'll drop back on some of your peer reviews, but we're going to spend that time collaborating on case studies. So those of you who are in 603, add on next semester, you will only do 1 peer review of tasks 1, 2, and 3 of the OMA and SKIP. You won't do any video peer reviews. You will spend that time doing 4 video case studies. So make sure that you understand that it's only going to get busier. The work's only going to get more high level, more of it. Different skill sets, development, learning to do legal case studies. You're going to have to pick up the pace. And so now's the time to double down and try to make sure that you finish this semester strong. That if you get an incomplete, you try to work it off during the holidays. Books, I ordered books back months ago. If they're not in the bookstore, go to Amazon and get them. Make sure that you've contacted your instructor. The books are all the same for everybody, but make sure that you do that. The day of the week, again, is dependent upon your instructor. I've given you the names of your instructors, and that will come out with when the video comes out, this agenda with everybody's instructor. I can tell you now, if you're with me next semester, it's Wednesday at 7. Dr. Tobias is with us. Dr. Tobias, what time are you teaching next semester?
Be with you Wednesday at 7 also. So I will be doing Wednesday.
Wednesday at 7. We have anybody else teaching that's with us? That's let's see. We got Dr. Crawford, but he's teaching 601. Dr. Revis is teaching 601. Let's see who else we got. We got a bunch more people. A lot of people are teaching right now. It's the reason they're not with us. They've got class tonight. So you need to, when you get the agenda for tonight, it will have the section that you're in now with your instructor, and they'll tell you where you're going to be next semester. And you can email them and ask them, prior to their shell being available on January 4th, what night of the week do they plan to teach? So that you can be making plans as quickly as possible. So Dr. Tobias and I teach on Wednesday night at 7. And so the other folks, Dr. Zantz, Dr. Neal, Dr. Sanders, and 602, they will have to tell you what time that they teach, because it changes. Sometimes it changes from semester to semester according to their schedule as well. All right, let me go to the chat and see if we got any more questions.
Dr. Lamb, Whitley asked a good question, and Dr. Hamilton responded, but others may want to know. She asked, would the 603 utilize a co-teaching model similar to 601? And Dr. Hamilton responded, based on your instructors. Now, I know some have, but I don't know that they will completely do what we've done in 601.
No.
Okay.
No. Gradual release. Your instructors will pull you aside and work with you. Now, your coach may or may not be with you every week, but you will depend less on your coach in 603 and 602. You will depend much less on your coach. You will submit to your instructor shell in 603, and you will only use your coach if it wasn't good enough to pass muster and keep on going. It slows you down. And so no, the 603 folks don't work together and co-teach as much in 603. The content is too heavy. You have a lot of assignments to do. They will depart away from simply the assignments being parts of the AppSell and AppTel. When you get to 603, you have a whole another set of assignments that you do. Again, more is expected. And so you'll meet one time a week. You won't meet twice a week. You won't have additional general coaching sessions in 603. You will in 602. Dr. Bullis will do more things with you, but in 603, no. You'll meet your once a week on, like say, me and Dr. Tobias on Wednesday night. You'll meet separately in our classes on Wednesday night, and you'll submit your OMA work to us. And if each task passes, you just keep on going. You won't even know who your coach is. The only time you'll use your coach is if we send you. You've got to start relying on being able to read the directions and following the directions. We can't have it, we can't keep you down. We're trying to lift you up. So again, whether you call it intentional abandonment or gradual release, you're going to step up. We're going to step back. You're still going to have your instructor every week. They're still going to give you immediate feedback on your work, but you'll only have to use your coach is if the work is not good enough. The coach can't just fix it with a little, a word or two. I mean, if you send us something written in crayon, then you're going to have to work with your coach. That's just the way it works. But otherwise, we just keep on rolling. Now, you say, but if I had more coaching and I had more time, I could do better. Well, that's the way all life is. If I had more coaching and more time, we could all do better. But we're trying to teach you to be independent. and to learn to follow directions and work on your own. And I know that all of you can do that. I mean, there's a process to this. We start you with, multiple sessions every week, multiple people working with you, focusing only on the evidences in the first semester, and then we branch out. In 603, we start having you go do interviews, observe things, see how the school is run. You do more activities. Our activities, our assignments in 603 are not based around the evidences themselves. You got to do that along with the assignments, and you got to do your case studies. I'm not going to pull your leg and tell you, oh, it's going to get easier as you go. No, it's going to get harder as you go. There's going to be more, and you're going to have to do time management. Again, you're going to have to take that 10 hours a week you were working on evidences. You're going to have to split that. You're going to have to get faster and use 5 of it on evidences and 5 of it on case studies. We're going to start we're going to squeeze you a little bit. We're going to squeeze you a little bit on your time. You can't just spend unlimited time on your evidences. You're going to have to do. You're going to have 4 big case studies as well. Now we'll let you get your feet on the ground in the OMA, a couple of those tasks out of the way before we hit you with the first case study. But it's coming. It's coming. You're going to have to learn to collaborate virtually, just like you do when you do your virtual peer reviews. Except now you're going to collaborate virtually to produce content. You got to have a presentation that comes out of that collaboration. That's the next level. That's the next step up. That's why you folks are in such demand right now, because as people have gone virtually, when you get through this program, you have the skills to lead a school virtually, and you understand what it takes to get content produced and virtual collaboration and using Zoom for something other than, to look at one another. And so that's the skill development that goes along with this. Some of our folks, they have a collaborative PowerPoint. Some of them do a collaborative Google Doc, where everybody can add different parts in, and they learn how to delegate, and different people can work in a collective, but independently in a collective. And that's the key to virtual collaboration, that we don't all just have to sit and be online with one another all the time. But that's a skill set that you have to develop, how to do that. And it's not as easy as it sounds like it would be. And so that's what we're doing is we're moving you through skill development to get you where we need to be. You folks in 602, you'll still have Dr. Bullis. He'll still be available. He may do some additional sessions with you on the side. I'm sure that he will. So, yes. For those of you, the OMA materials, they're already in your 601 add-on shells. That shell will continue to be available to you over the holidays. The OMA materials to get you started for 603 are already in that shell. That question just, so yes, you can go ahead and start on your OMA over the holidays. I suggest you do. That OMA task 1 is the bear. That's a 2-weeker.
It's in Blackboard under week 14, Dr. Lamb.
Under week 14 in Blackboard, you'll find the OMA materials. Week 14 in Blackboard. If you want to launch into the OMA, I would tackle that task 1, because that's a 60-pager. Elizabeth's eyes got big. That was the reaction, but that's the normal reaction. That's what you're supposed to do when I say 60 pages. You think I'm pulling your leg, but I'm not. But a lot of that stuff is just, go get it and pull it back in. But yeah, that OMA task 1 is a bear. A lot of stuff. If your OMA is 100 pages long, that's just the way it goes. I'm telling you, if it gets more complicated, time gets shorter as we go. But I know you'll step up. I mean, that's the whole notion here is it gets more complicated when you get in school administration. And it doesn't get easier the longer you're in it. It gets more complicated and involved the longer you stay, because you know more what you need to be doing. All right, let's check our chats. If somebody getting the okay, where's the document that was created? That will also be found in the MELS clinical handbook that is in your shell. So let's go and look for that right quick. Let me share my screen. So I'm going to pull up Dr. Stedman's shell in Blackboard.
And Dr. Lamb, if I can just interject for just a moment while you're looking for that. I had met with some students yesterday, and one of them suggested, since we have to do inventory 3 times a year, whether we are face-to-face or remote, suggested asking your administrator if you could take over the inventory process, especially for middle of the year or end of the year. And I think that's a great administrative task to take over. And most of us are using like Google Docs and things for that process. So that's also a digital learning or a digital tool that they can include with their competency folio as well.
Absolutely. That's a great idea. Thank you. So in your class shell, you've got MELS handbook and competency. So you'll see that you've got a MELS clinical internship handbook. When you open that up,
Dr. Lamb, they're also listed separately underneath that too.
right, they are. And so when you look in this handbook, what you'll see is your form, your open-ended, leadership and technical. This is should be right there. Yeah, during school closures. No, that's the right one. You're right here. All right, so in this MELS clinical handbook, open-ended, this is when your school is open, and this is for when your school is closed. MELS clinical handbook has the list. Now, you say, well, my school was open and now it's closed, school was closed and now you switch back and forth as you need to. You can switch back and forth as you need to. And so again, in your 601 shells, you will find MELS handbook and sources right here. You will find it in there. You will find that. Now, week 14, you will find the OMA. OMA task and prompt template and a task 1 and a regular example. You will find those under week 14 there. For those of you in 601, you'll need to get in touch with Dr. Bullis. He has the materials in his shell to work with you on the AppTel. All right, so that's where you find them now. This is what your 603 shell is going to look like next semester. So what it's going to look like, it'll look much like you'll have the weekly schedule that has everything. You'll have discussion boards. Now, discussion boards are going to be locate copies of your school emergency plans, find your district's field trip policy, interview AP about due process, examine a district policy on, you got to find your district's policy on cyberbullying. You got to go attend an IEP meeting. You got to interview your chair of your intervention team about RTI and MTSS, those kinds of things. You got to interview an administrator concerning HR hiring practices, interview a person at your district HR office about employee assistance, compensation plans, and benefits. You have to do a facilities walkthrough. You have to interview an administrator about school fundraising, about budgeting. You got to locate a copy of your budget and interview an administrator about it. And so you got a lot of things that you have to do in terms of assignments. You have 4 case studies, as I said. You're going to have 4 case studies. You have to do a group project collaboratively, and you have to write a reflection. Case studies are, the 4 topics are grades, grading. The second topic is funding. Leandro case about school funding, very in depth. Third case is LGBTQ rights, and the fourth case is EC in intervention. And so those are the hottest topics in the business, and so those will be your case studies. Those get rather involved. You have to have a presentation, a group presentation that you will present as for having done those, and you have to write a reflection of your experience while having done those. So you got materials under each week that you have to read and prior to our sessions, so that you'll be able to keep up with what we're doing. They will match the activity that you did that. And then after a couple of weeks, let's see, when do we normally do?
Dr. Lamb, there are discussion boards with over
Yep.
the next 3 weeks. You really could pick and choose several of them, and you could knock several of them out before you go home for Christmas.
Yeah, you could do some of that kind of thing. Those are posted as well. So let's see, 5th week, 6th week. There we go. Yep. Your case study 1 will be due in the 6th week, and so you get, as we said, we give you a couple weeks, 3, 4 weeks to knock out the beginning of your OMA, and then you got 2 weeks to put together your case study presentation, and then they'll be due every 2 weeks after that. So we give you time to to kind of get your footing in 603 before we hit you with the case studies, but
Dr. Lamb, remind them they don't do as many peer reviews, and they will not be doing the peer virtual peer
right
as well.
Yeah, I've already reminded them of that. You're only going to do six written peer reviews. You're going to review 1 task of one of your teammates, and OMA task 1, 2, and 3, and skip 1, 2, and 3. That's it. It's all the peer reviewing you're going to do. You'll do no video peer reviews. You will do collaboration on case studies in its place. And as I told you, you would have in there, you'll have CAP materials to get you started at the end of the course. And we've got some 605 materials in there as well to get you started on your next course. So that's what that'll look like. For those of you who will be in 602 next semester, let me find one of those right quick. I'll have to go back to last spring. This is what it will look like. And it looks more like your 601. And so here are all the things that'll be in yours, and she has activities for you to do. All of these things, your course 1 introduction. And so, but again, you folks will have it easier in that you'll have the same coach, and he'll operate under the same process, that he'll coach you the same way he coached you this semester on your evidence. The add-on licensure people, yours will change. And how you use your coach will change as well. They will not put on regular coaching sessions with you. They won't have regular weekly. You will work with them individually as needed. Okay, everybody got that? Any questions anybody has? Have we answered all the chat questions tonight? Are the discussion posts based on textbook reading? Nope. We don't do any read a chapter, answer a question. Nope. They go along with the material that you will have read in your text that week, but they are not based on it's not read this chapter and tell us what you think. I won't be ugly, but I don't really care what you think. I want to know what you know by going out and talking to people. So It's not read a chapter and tell us what you think about it. You know, this is not American Bandstand for those of you that, you know, we don't do it. You know, I give it an 80 because it was easy to dance to. I don't care what you think about the chapter. You're supposed to get information, and you go and you talk with people in the real world to get that information on how school really works. Remembering that when you move to 603, we're moving away from instruction. You should have instruction buttoned down. Those of you folks in 602, you're finishing up buttoning down instruction because you're doing assessment and the APTEL, building a professional development plan. Those of you who are in 601 add-on, you're finishing up instruction. We're going to go now in 603, you start management. How do you actually run a school on a day-to-day basis, the legal and the financial piece? That's what 603 is, law and finance. How you run a school on a day-to-day basis, how you develop a master schedule, how you develop a school budget, how you do discipline, how you do supervision, how you make the clocks run on time, the trains run on time. And so it's not theoretical; it's all practical. Your opinion of it is, that doesn't factor in. And so this is about learning the real inside deal on how you run school. This is pulling the curtain back. This pulls the curtain back, and you get to see behind the curtain of how schools are really run. And some of you, it will make you decide that you don't want to do this when you see, again, most of us, we don't really care to see how the sausage is made. We just want to eat breakfast. Well, you're going to have to see how the sausage is made now. It's pretty ugly at times. It's not always pleasant. But that's the whole point of 603, is to see the real world and get into real world topics that get really ugly. People in the community, parents, folks not being happy. When you start talking about grading, and when you start talking about funding and who gets what, and, my kid deserves more, and we don't want them kids in our school, LGBTQ, all those things. We don't want those exceptional children in my kid's classroom. He's keeping my kid from learning. All that kind of ugly stuff. That's the ugly part of how this works. You're going to see all of it next semester. And some of you will decide, oh, boy, this is not for me. I don't like this. But that's good. But you need to know what you're signing on for. There's no crying in school administration. You got to saddle up and ride. Somebody asked why Santa Claus has not got his coat on tonight. I'll have it on in a couple of days here. My wife's going to be so happy when she gets to shear me in about another 2 weeks, when I get through all my Santa Claus. I'm shedding like a goat.
It's just complete innocence. We are in full Christmas magic here at my house.
Yeah, I am too. I'm sitting here sweating wearing this beard. I'll be so glad when I can comb this thing out, do Santa Claus, and be done with it. Yeah, it needs to be cold to be Santa Claus. I can tell you that. It needs to be colder than it is here. All right. Anything else for the good of the group tonight? How was some of the 603? Are the interview questions for discussion posted somewhere? Yes, they're in there. The questions are in there. Be modified. Yeah, you modify your own assignments. Again, the interview questions will tell you what, we'll give you a clue as what you ought to be asking, but you've got to come up with that protocol on your own. And also you need to modify your assignments. Again, we're not going to tell you how to do it all. We're going to tell you what's expected. And then we'll help you. If you ask your instructors, they will help you. But again, you need to be able to look at a prompt that you've been given and be able to figure out how you can accommodate that according to your situation. Superintendent, when the superintendent passes out directions in a school when you're a principal, they kind of don't like it when you want to sit and ask a million questions. They hired you to figure that out. And that's part of the transition that we'll be making is we'll answer questions for you and give you some hints about things that you should ask when you do these things. And we've got some, that the questions are a little more, the prompts a little more in depth in there, but you're going to have to figure out what you need to know. And again, if your school is virtual, and you're going to need to figure out how you can accomplish some of these things. They put out links to IEP meetings. You can sit in on a virtual IEP meeting. You can do your interviews virtually.
Dr. Lamb, in the summer, we taught the class and everything was virtual too.
Yeah.
And we got through all the assignments. We made modifications, but we got through.
Yeah.
We got through every one of them. And
I'm
that
teaching.
was when COVID first hit, was when we were doing that class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had 3 sections, and we were completely virtual in the summer, and they did them. I've had sections this fall. Nobody's had a problem with those things. You adapt to what situation that you're in. As we have learned, we can't just quit because we can't come to school every day. We just have to persevere, and you have to adapt to what you have. And that's what administrators have to do. You have to adapt to what you have. And when you do your interviews with people, you should have read the chapter in the book to know what the issues are. And you can ask what you're interested in knowing when you talk to these people. But there's some context clues in the question about what you should be asking them. But, when you ask them what they think is the 5 most important functions of scheduling, that they'll talk to you, and then you can ask follow-up questions on those. That interview only has one question. When you talk to an AP, you ask them, what's your biggest concern about process and discipline? You'll get into dealing with parents. You'll get into time. You'll get into uploading it into PowerSchool. And you need to learn to have a conversation with people, not just sit and read questions and take notes about what they said. We're trying to get you to be able to be conversant with these people and kind of step outside of that student role into a collegial role. I don't want you taking a list of questions and sitting and reading them to these people. I want you to have conversations as peers would have. You may not be their peer yet, but that doesn't mean that you can't talk to them as if you're peers. So I don't want to give you just an interview protocol. Here, go ask these people this question, because that keeps you in a subordinate role. That superordinate, subordinate, you're talking to somebody above you. I want you to speak to these people as if you're on an equal footing with them. Have a conversation. I can't train you to be an administrator if I can't change your lens. Remember, we've talked about that 1,000 times. You've got to change your lens. You've got to see yourself, and other people will not see you as an administrator or a potential administrator until you do. I'm sitting here like Oz. I didn't give you anything you didn't already have. It's my job to get it out of you. And and part of that is you have to see yourself as a potential administrator. Some of you already are. And you got to learn to have collegial conversations with people. And that's what we're talking about here. Is we want the inside scoop. We don't want what's in a textbook. We want the inside scoop from these people. So that's why we have you do these interviews, is to begin that dialogue as an administrator. That's just as important as what you learn, is how they begin to perceive you. That won't work if you just read a list of questions. Trust me, it won't. All right. Well, this has just been about more fun than I can stand. I believe I've had enough for the evening. I see our time is up, which I always try to be respectful of your time. For those of you who drew the short straw and have me next semester, I'll just go ahead and apologize now. Save me the time next semester. But I look forward to it. I've enjoyed working with you this semester. I wish that I didn't have 2 doctoral statistics class and I could take a couple more of y'all, because I really like working with you folks. Y'all seem to be a lot of fun, but that's just my cross to bear. So anyway, I will, I'll see those of you in C12. I'll see you. You'll get the recording of this and you'll get tonight's agenda with your class assignments. Don't hesitate to get in touch with your instructor for next semester and find out what night they're going to meet and when they're getting, for those of you in 602, what night they're going to do coaching sections. That'll be with Dr. Bullis. You already know him. And so that should wrap us up for the evening. Has anybody got anything we want to go? Dr. Crawford, you sat there and been quiet the whole night. You got anything you want to say before we go?
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Ho, ho, ho.